My name is Michael today. I am a wealthy old man. My large house feels hollow now. My dear wife passed long ago. I had one beloved daughter. Her name was Grace, my angel. Grace married a young man. His name was Ethan, her husband. Ethan once worked at airports. He was gentle, not wealthy. They both moved in with me. We formed a small, loving family. We formed a small, loving family. We formed a small, loving family. Then serious trouble arrived suddenly. Ethan lost his airport position. He felt completely broken inside. No employer would hire him. Depression slowly consumed his spirit. He stayed locked in his room. He slept through every single day. I watched him with angry eyes. I despised men who seemed lazy. I had always worked extremely hard. I believed Ethan was simply weak. Grace worked herself to exhaustion daily. She always appeared completely drained. I wanted someone better for her. One evening, I approached Grace directly. We stood together in our kitchen. I spoke with great seriousness then. I said, "Ethan is failing you. He accomplishes absolutely nothing daily." Grace listened with tremendous sadness inside. She deeply loved this broken man. She quietly shook her tired head. She said, "Daddy, please be patient. He is hurting so deeply now." She begged me to help him. I refused to offer any help. Later that same difficult evening, Ethan emerged from his dark room. He looked completely disheveled and lost. I immediately rose from my chair. I pointed directly toward the door. I shouted with tremendous boiling anger. "You are a burden," I declared. "You contribute absolutely nothing here anymore. Leave this house tonight permanently." Ethan froze completely in pure shock. He looked desperately toward my Grace. I stood firmly between them both. He begged me quietly for mercy. He said he had nowhere else. He asked for just 1 week. I refused to hear his words. I swung the front door open. I physically pushed him outside roughly. I said, "Leave tonight and permanently. Never return to this house again. My daughter deserves a real man." Ethan quietly lifted his small bag. He walked alone into dark streets. I slammed the door shut hard. I had discarded a genuinely good man. That night, I felt completely powerful. Grace sobbed painfully for many weeks. She remained furious with me constantly, but I insisted it was right. I wanted wealth for my daughter. Soon she encountered a man named Victor. Victor appeared absolutely perfect externally. He possessed a thriving large business. He drove extremely expensive fast cars. He always wore perfectly tailored suits. I immediately approved and liked him. Victor visited our home. One evening, he arrived carrying very fancy wine. He gently held my Grace's hand. He said he could give everything. He promised she would live royally. I felt enormous pride hearing this. I approved their marriage without hesitation. They wed inside a magnificent large church. Every single guest smiled joyfully that day, but I never looked at Grace's eyes. Her smile appeared painfully very small. After the wedding, everything quickly changed. Victor revealed himself as controlling and cruel. He wanted complete ownership over Grace. He eliminated all of her friendships. He began pushing me away too. I telephoned Grace many desperate times. She never once answered my calls. I drove directly to their mansion. I knocked firmly upon their door. Victor swung it open, coldly, then. He asked why I had come. He said Grace was now his. She no longer needed her father. I stood there in complete shock. I tried desperately to see her. I told him I needed Grace, Victor completely blocked the entire doorway. His expression remained frightfully cold throughout. He told me to go home. He said never return here again. Then he slammed the door shut. I stood completely alone. Outside there, I felt my old heart shatter. I had chosen money over love. I surrendered my daughter to a monster. Several painful months slowly dragged past. I spotted Grace once at market. She appeared dangerously thin and fragile. She kept her eyes fixed downward. Fear was clearly visible on her. I sat alone in my empty house. I kept remembering dear gentle Ethan. He was poor but truly kind. I deeply missed him very much. I had been a complete fool. 5 long and painful years passed. I had grown frail and lonely. Every single day I visited parks. I sat quietly upon my bench. I watched birds and happy families. Children laughed all around me daily. A sharp pain struck my chest. I desperately wanted my family back. One bright and warm sunny morning, I settled onto my familiar bench. A man jogged past me quickly. He wore bright blue athletic clothes. He appeared remarkably strong and healthy. He paused nearby and drank water. I studied his familiar-looking face. My entire heart suddenly stood still. Those were unmistakably Ethan's own eyes, yet this Ethan looked completely transformed. He radiated confidence and visible success. I wanted desperately to hide myself. Overwhelming shame flooded through me. Immediately, Ethan noticed me and walked over. I dropped my gaze toward the ground. He greeted me with genuine calm warmth. He simply asked how I was doing. I slowly raised my eyes toward him. His voice carried absolutely zero anger. "Ethan," I whispered, "is it truly you? You appear so remarkably different now. You genuinely look successful and wonderful." Ethan offered a quiet, gentle smile. He came and sat beside me. He confirmed that he had changed completely. He said he had worked extremely hard. He now owned a successful gymnasium. Life was finally treating him well. I suddenly felt incredibly small inside. I had judged him far too early. I had wrongly labeled him a failure, yet he had ultimately become a success. I told him I was proud. I said, he succeeded completely alone. I offered him my sincere apology. Ethan looked at me very seriously then. He asked about Grace's current happiness. He confessed, thinking of her constantly. My eyes immediately filled with tears. I told him Grace was not happy. Her husband was a genuinely terrible man. Victor controlled everything about her life. I admitted I had made terrible choices. Ethan listened with quiet and deep sadness. He carried tremendous sorrow for Grace. I confessed I could not help her. Victor was simply far too powerful. I was just a weak old man. I admitted completely failing my daughter. Ethan gently placed his hand on me. He refused to abandon me there alone. He then rose with determined, strong eyes. He retrieved a small card from his pocket. He handed it directly to me. He said a lawyer could help Grace. She assisted women escaping terrible marriages. I stared at Ethan in complete disbelief. After everything I did to him, he was still willing to help us. He was truly a far better man. Ethan gazed quietly toward the tall trees. He breathed in deeply and slowly. He said, his love for Grace remained. Her happiness still mattered deeply to him. He said, together we must save her. I rose slowly from that old bench. Real hope flooded back into my heart. Real hope flooded back into my heart. I looked at Ethan with new eyes. He was truly the son I needed. I thanked him with tremendous deep emotion. I confessed I had been completely blind. I said money truly means absolutely nothing. Love is the only thing that matters. I asked if he could forgive me. Ethan extended his strong, steady hand forward. We shook hands firmly and meaningfully together. It felt like something new beginning finally. He said we had important work ahead. We went directly to see the lawyer. Together we carefully constructed a solid plan. Exactly 1 week later, Grace finally escaped. The process was hard, but she was brave. She returned safely back to my house. She discovered Ethan waiting in our living room. She wept and ran straight toward him. Ethan opened both his arms wide immediately. They embraced each other for a very long time. Grace said she had missed him terribly. She also offered him her deep apology. Ethan gently wiped every tear from her face. He promised she was now completely safe. He said they were finally together again. I stood watching them both with tears. My empty house suddenly felt completely full. My broken heart finally felt whole again. Ethan and Grace now run their gym. They are genuinely and deeply happy together. I live joyfully alongside them every day. I learned the most important life lesson. Never judge people by their bank account. Always judge them by their heart instead. Thank you sincerely for being here today. If this story touched your heart deeply, please subscribe, like, and share it widely. More beautiful stories are arriving very soon. You are always warmly welcomed here. Always.